Trig Review, Test 3, problems 33 through 35. The instructions say solve. Problem 33 is cosine of 2x equals the square root of 2 over 2. I want to know all the angles where cosine is the square root of 2 over 2. And when it says 2x, that means I got to go around that unit circle 2 times to get those answers. You know that 45 degrees has a cosine of the square root of 2 over 2. So this would be 45 degrees and 315 degrees. Well, looking at your unit circle, those are the two places where cosine is positive square root of 2 over 2. But I got to go around again, so that, since that's 2x, so that's 45 plus 360, and then I got to do 315 plus 360. So 45 plus 360 gives me 405 degrees. 315 plus 360 gives me 675 degrees. Since that is 2x, and I want to know x, I got to go through and divide all those by 2. X equals 22.5 degrees, 157.5 degrees, 202.5 degrees, 337.5 degrees. Change to radians because these answers are in radians. You know you're going to do 22.5 times pi over 180. You're going to do 157.5 times pi over 180. You're going to do 202.5 times pi over 180. And you're going to do 337.5 times pi over 180. Use your calculator. Do 22.5 divided by 180. You want to change that to a fraction, so you go math, fraction is highlighted, press enter, press enter. You have 1 over 8. That tells me that this is pi over 8. Do a similar process for each of these others and you will come out with 7 pi over 8, 9 pi over 8, and 15 pi over 8. Number 34. Solve cosine squared of x plus 2 cosine of x plus 1 equals 0. Factor the left side, just like you'd factor a normal algebraic expression. You know you're going to start out with cosine of x and cosine of x. What numbers can you multiply to get 1 that add to give you 2? Plus 1 and plus 1. You see that this is cosine squared plus cosine plus cosine. It gives me that, plus 1. Set this equal to 0. I have cosine of x equals negative 1. Both of these are identical, so I only have to do one of them. It's time to grab that unit circle. Where on the unit circle is cosine negative 1? Over here at pi. That is my one and only answer. Final answer, pi. Number 35. sine squared of x minus cosine squared of x equals 0. I want to know for what angles is that true. That's what it means when it says solve this. I need to have this in terms of one trig function. So I'm going to change that cosine squared to 1 minus sine squared. Simplify this. Sine squared of x minus 1 plus sine squared of x equals 0. Sine squared plus sine squared is 2 sine squared of x minus 1 equals 0. Now, add 1 to each side. Sine squared of x equals 1. Divide both sides by 2. Sine squared of x equals 1/2. Take the square root of both sides. You know, when you take the square root, you put a plus or minus. Sine of x equals plus or minus the square root of 1/2, which is plus or minus the square root of 2 over 2. Look at that unit circle. Find all the places where sine is square root of 2 over 2. It can be positive or negative square root of 2 over 2, because that's what that plus or minus means right there. Looking for all the places where that second number is the square root of 2 over 2. I see that that happens at 45. I see it happens at 135. I see it happens over here at 225. I see it happens at 315. If you can write those down in degrees if you want to, just because it might sort of make you think about it a little better. But the answers they're going to want on the test are actually in radians. So you can just look at that unit circle and say, hey, it's pi over 4. It's 3 pi over 4. It is 5 pi over 4. And it is 7 pi over 4.